Everyone's greatest moments of their life is when they've come from kind of a dark place, or they've had to struggle through something. So I think it's searching for that and knowing that you're capable of doing it, so there's no point giving up when things get a little bit tough.
Do you say your motivation is?
Yeah, I'm a very, very determined person. I don't give up very easy. I'm very stubborn. That inside drive for satisfaction and knowing that you're capable of doing something. So I think it's just kind of burning inside me.
Hey Olivia, thanks for coming in and joining us today. If you're happy, do you want to start off and kind of tell everybody out there, who you are and who Olivia Mehaffey is?
Yes, so my name is Olivia Mehaffey. I am a professional golfer. I grew up in Banbridge. I've been playing since I was 6 years old. Went to university in Arizona State. Got my degree in sociology there, and then transitioned to professional a couple of years ago.
Fantastic. So you've recently signed with Realtime again. This is your second year, is that correct?
Yes, so very, very happy. I mean, it's amazing to have such a great company, a local company, supporting me since the first day I turned professional, and that for me is very special, and to have them to continue the partnership is very exciting.
That's great, yeah, and it's like I said before, it's good to have you on board too. But where did the golf interest stem from, and how did you get into it from the get-go?
Yeah, so I started when I was 6. I just joined Tangier Golf Club. My brother and my dad played, so they were really the driving force behind it. Always been a big golf family. The golf was always on the TV, and felt in a way I didn't have a choice, but I did have a choice because I was the one begging them to go out and play. So I really I played a lot of sports growing up, but I just absolutely fell in love with golf, and very competitive person, and played with my brother, so I was just trying to beat him really.
That's good. And did you ever beat him?
All the time.
And where does the talent come from then as well?
I always think that I've just worked very, very hard. A lot of people always say that. They're you work so hard, you put a lot of hours in, and they think that, there's nothing that's ever really given to you. You just have to kind of earn it. So I like to be out there for a long time. I like to put a lot of hours in. I like to know that I've worked hard, and then I think that's kind of maybe helped my talent shine through, really.
Yeah, so it's the real dedication to the sport as well.
I would say so.
And I guess talk me through your career journey. So we know you turned pro in 2019. So what steps did you take kind of to turn pro, and then how have you found it from turning pro?
Yeah, so I've always wanted to turn pro since I was very young. I started playing for Ireland when I was extremely young. I think I was 12 or 13, and I kind of got good in Ireland, got comfortable there, transitioned into Europe, kind of won a lot there, got to 3 in the amateur world rankings, and then moved to college in America. And I think each one has been a progression, a step forward. And college in America for me was just to get ready for turning pro. It was to get used to the courses in America, to get used to traveling a lot, to be away from home, all of those things. So I feel that was kind of a good step for turning pro, and I've known that I've wanted to be pro for a long, long time. So it's very nice to get to do that. And my journey as a pro has been maybe not off to the start that I thought it would be. Sometimes life gets in the way of your professional journey, and I feel that's happened for a little bit for me, but I feel now I've learned quite a lot, and I feel I'm kind of getting ready to get out there and feel comfortable on the bigger stage.
That's great, and it's great to kind of know that you're ready for that to go forward. But from your whole career journey, what has been your proudest moment so far?
Yeah, I think there's always a lot of achievements that you're proud of. I think maybe winning national championship in America was a big deal. Anytime you represent your country and you get a win, I think that's always really nice. And the individual achievements are nice, but I think it's better when you have teammates around you and you represent your country. I think that has always meant that little bit more to me. That's where professional golf's a little bit different, because you're out there a lot. You're competing only for yourself and the team around you. But it's nice to have sponsors as well, and you feel like you want to do well for them as well. So I think that's probably the difference now. But I would say anytime you get to play with teammates and get to do it as a team, it's great.
That's good. And what would you say your motivation is?
Yeah, I'm a very, very determined person. I don't give up very easy. I'm very stubborn. I would say that, obviously not getting off to the start I would have liked in my professional career, not how I saw it going at all. To be honest, I think, it's that determination now that I'm I know what I'm capable of doing, and I've done it before as an amateur, and I think it's just that like inside drive for like satisfaction and knowing that you're capable of doing something. So I think it's just kind of burning inside me, and it's always been like that. I've always been very, very like self-driven.
Yeah. And you kind of touched on before that you have had a few setbacks in the past, of course. You had broke your hand, there was COVID there as well in the driving factor. But I guess, how did you remain so resilient throughout all of the setbacks you felt you've had?
Yeah, I think, the nice thing is that I've had a lot of success before, so I know what I'm capable of doing. So I think that's very nice. And, I've won a lot of tournaments. I've been successful, so I think knowing that there's always going to be setbacks in everybody's journey. I think sometimes the most successful things, or everyone's greatest moments of their life is when they've come from kind of a dark place, or they've had to like struggle through something. So I think it's like searching for that and knowing that you're capable of doing it, so there's no point giving up when things get a little bit tough.
And that's great. And with those struggles, I know you've recently produced a blog as of November of 2022. So are you happy to kind of tell us what your main mission behind that was?
Yeah, so it was tough for me. I lost my dad. The reason I play golf was because of my dad. So I think that was a very hard thing for me, where, I couldn't go to work to escape what I was going through. I went to work and I was constantly reminded of it, but I wasn't really like ready to be reminded of it every single day. So I eventually got to the point where I decided to take some time off, and I feel very lucky that the team around me, my sponsors, everybody really understood the decision, and they really supported me throughout it. And I just thought about what I was going through, and I was almost in a way like searching for people that had been through something similar, athletes, and there's very little out there. There's very little about athletes opening up about this type of thing, and I just thought, okay, so I'm a role model to so many girls, and I don't want them looking at my Instagram or my social media and thinking, oh, I really want to be like her, everything's so great, because it's not always great. And I just wanted to be very real and, help some other people. And when I first kind of announced about taking time off, I think that was the biggest like wake up call for me, was how many people had messaged me to say they were struggling, they were going through a similar thing. And I just thought, okay, this is something that could actually make a difference. So I kind of started to do it with not that much expectation, maybe thinking I could help 1-2 people, that would be amazing. And honestly, I'm overwhelmed by how many messages I've received since I started. And like, I even got a message last week, someone lost their nephew, and they said they were experiencing something. And I just think the drive is to like help other people, so it's been very nice.
Yeah, and I know from personal experience, like I've read it every step of the way, every time you go to release one, I'm waiting on it to come out, and it's fantastic to read because there's so much emotion put into it as well through all the blogs that you put out. So I'm really glad that your mission has kind of ended up as a success, which is fantastic too. But as a female, I guess, in a very male-dominated sport, did you find any challenges or struggles to try and kind of get into the professional world there within golf?
I think golf, we're lucky that we do have an opportunity to compete, although it's not the same. And I always felt like this in college. It's just sometimes it's a little bit frustrating where you do the same, or you achieve more than someone else, and they get more opportunities than you do. And I think we're in a space where professional golf, it's very nice, we can make a living, and there's a lot of great sponsors that get behind us, and that's really nice. It allows us to be able to do that. I do think that things need to get better, more media coverage and that type of thing, but the more people get to play with us and get to see how strong the women's game is, I think they want to get behind, they want to get involved, and they want to support. So that's very, very nice. So I think for me, I feel lucky that I've had, since I turned pro, I've had amazing companies behind me, and they do support me, and I've had these opportunities, and it's not always the same for everybody. I'm very aware of that.
And have you noticed any recent trends that have kind of adapted into the golf space to make it more inclusive for women?
Yeah, I would say that there's a lot more media coverage. You'll see it a lot more on TV. That type of thing's really nice, because I think if you don't get to see it, you don't get to see how talented and how great it is if it's not on TV. So if you just can't see it, you've no idea. I think there's been a lot more money. The purses have got bigger. There's more tournaments. There's more opportunities. So I think there's been a lot of things put in place, and even like programs to get more girls into golf, which is something I'm really, really passionate about. It's nice to see so many junior girls out there now. Like when I grew up, I always played with the boys. So it's very sweet when I see, a group of girls going going out to play that are young, because it means the money that's funded into those initiatives and having more role models and more girls that are professional, it's a nice driving factor for them.
Yeah, because your own home club of Tandragee, it has one of them initiatives as well, isn't it? Get into golf for girls.
Yes, it's really nice, and I go out there and I see like 15-20 girls out there, and it's so beautiful because I was the only girl, so it's really nice to see that now, and to see there's like definitely a change going on.
Well, as you know, working with Realtime, we are a tech recruitment company, which I guess is also very male dominated. So what advice would you have for any women or girls out there who are maybe starting their career off in a more male dominated industry, or who are maybe already working in it? Like, what would your advice be?
Yeah, I just think that, we're so capable and so powerful, and I just think that, you have to like just stand up for like what you believe in, and you have to like make your voice heard and not feel like you can't walk in there and make a difference, because you definitely can. So I think having the confidence and kind of backing yourself to go in and with your great ideas, and not be afraid to stand up and share them, and that kind of like powerful, like girl power sort of feeling, like when you walk in. So I just think that if you've got great ideas, just stand up and share them, because if you want to make a difference, your voice has to be heard.
Absolutely, that's great. And any female role models that you have, like who have you taken your inspiration from, aside from obviously you talked about your dad, but what other female role models are out there? Well,
I've always looked up to my mum, because I've always wanted to be a lot like my mum. I think she's amazing. So she's just such a strong woman. So I think obviously her, and then I look up a lot to like Leona Maguire, professional golfer. It's nice because she's a few steps ahead of me, a bit older, and someone that really helps me. But also like, she got the first professional win on the LPGA tour, and she's breaking down a lot of barriers, and I think that I really admire that as well.
Perfect. I'm sure Leona would really like that shout out. But to bring the conversation back to, I guess, the tech side of things, what would you say, or what would you use tools and tech wise in golf?
Yeah, I actually use quite a lot of technology. So I would say probably the three biggest things is I use a statistics company. So after every round, I put in what club I hit, how far it went, a lot of tracking to kind of monitor my stats, see what areas need to be improved. That is all generated for me once I put in the information online. So that's really, really good. And then it means like when I'm practicing, I know maybe, from 100 to 120 yards is an area to improve, or I see where I've gained strokes or lost strokes compared to data that they've already collected. So that's a huge thing. And then I have a TrackMan as well, so I use that when I practice. So it's a golf satellite. It's extremely technical. It measures everything, the spin, where the ball started, the club path, all of this. It measures all the club data, all the ball data. So it's extremely like how far the ball went, how far the ball ran, spin axes, all of this crazy stuff. So that's something I use. And then also I wear a Whoop. It tracks my sleep, my recovery, how often I train, how like my workouts, my heart rate, all of that. So I would say technology is quite important.
And do you think with using it, do you think it's made you a better golfer in comparison to maybe before whenever you didn't use it, or what impact would you say it's had on your golf career?
Yeah, I would say it's had a huge impact. Like before I had a TrackMan, I was kind of guessing a lot, trying to figure out where my swing was at. It specifically tells me where it's at. I remember having to walk for so long to pick up golf balls to try and figure out where they pitched to see how far they were going, and now it just shows up on my phone right there. Again, you're always guessing your recovery, you're guessing your workouts. It just provides answers that are right there, and it's correct. It takes a lot of guessing out of it. So I'd say it's definitely helped me be a lot more precise.
Amazing. And what does the future look like for Olivia Mehaffey?
Yeah, it's obviously been an interesting journey so far, and I just feel I've put so much work in the last few months. I feel like I have a great team around me. I feel like I'm starting to get back on my feet again. So I hope in the next few months I will be back to my best, like how I played as an amateur, hopefully holding in some trophies. So I just feel like, it's probably like a happy, successful, same like determined self, but hopefully with a few trophies in the trophy case.
Well, from all of us at Realtime, we wish you all the success for the future, and especially your next 2 competitions coming up. Fingers crossed for those.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us today. For anyone who does want to read your blog though, you go online to oliviamehaffey.com, and then there'll be all the blogs that are posted below as well if anyone wants to read them. So it's a really good, it is really good to read and kind of see the kind of where she's come from versus to now. So just in case anyone's interested. Thanks.